So 30 plus 4 is 34, okay? And in line 47, I decided to actually output the value of this second variable to the console, as you can see here, okay? This is the value of the second variable, okay? So in line 48, as you can see, I decided to add a value to my third variable. So this is how I actually assigned a value to my third variable. I decided to actually subtract 10 values from the value of my first variable, and then I actually assigned the result of this operation here to my third variable, okay? So as you can see here, the value of the first variable is 34 now, okay? Because of this expression here, the value of the first variable is 34, okay? And in this line of code, I want to subtract 10 values from the value of my first variable, okay? In line 48, I want to subtract 10 values from the value of my first variable, okay? So 34 minus 10 is 24, okay? And in line 49, I decided to output the value of my third variable to the console. So as you can see here in the console, this is the value of my third variable, 24, okay? So be sure to practice these skills that I actually teach you in these lessons, okay? So now I want to show you some other examples about actually assigning values to your variables. So first, let me actually comment out these lines of code here because I don't want to execute them, okay? So I just create a multi-line comment. Again, I want to create 3 variables here, okay? So the data type of my first variable is int, and the name of my first variable is, for example, first number. Okay, and then I don't assign any value to my variable here, okay? And I want to create another variable here. So the data type of my variable here is int. The name of my variable is second number. And then at the end of my statement, I need to put in a semicolon, okay? Again, I want to create another variable. So the data type of my variable is int. And the name of my variable would be third number, okay? And I don't assign any value to my variable here, okay? So now I want to actually assign a value to my first number variable, okay? So I just need to refer to the name of my first number variable, and then I can actually assign a value to my variable, for example, number 50. Okay, and then at the end of my statement, I need to put in a semicolon, okay? So now I want to actually output the value of my variable to the console. System.out.println, and then inside the parentheses, I need to refer to the name of my variable first number, and at the end of my statement, I need to put in a semicolon. So if I run my project now, as you can see, it's gonna output this value to the console, like number 50, okay? So now I want to actually assign a value to my second number variable. So again, I need to refer to the name of my second number variable. Okay, I use the autocomplete feature of the Eclipse in order to help me writing my codes faster, okay? Second number, and then I assign a value to my variable here, okay? So I want to actually assign the value of my first number variable to my second number variable. So here I just need to refer to the name of my first number variable, as you can see. And here I need to put a semicolon at the end of my statement, and I want to actually output the value of this variable to the console. System.out.println, and then inside the parentheses, I need to refer to the name of my variable, second number, okay? So now, if I run my project, as you can see, it's gonna actually again output this value to the console, okay? This is the value of my second number, okay? So I assigned the value of the first number to my second number, and in line 59, I actually decided to output this value to the console, okay? So now let me actually put the increment operator at the end of my first number variable, okay, plus plus, okay. And now I want to actually assign a value to my third number variable. So I just need to refer to the name of my third number variable, and then I can assign a value to my third number variable. So now I want to actually put the increment operator before the name of my variable. So plus plus first number, okay? And then at the end of my statement, I need to put in a semicolon, okay? So now I want to output the value of this variable to the console. System.out.println, and then inside the parentheses, I just need to refer to the name of my variable third number. And at the end of my statement, I need to put in a semicolon in order to make the Eclipse happy. And as you can see, the error is now gone, okay? So this is very important that you always end your statements with a semicolon, okay? So now if I run my project, it's gonna show me some different results because of the difference between prefix and postfix operations, okay? So now let me actually run my project and see what happens, okay? So as you can see here, it's gonna output these three values to the console, okay? So the first one is the result of execution of this line of code, as you can see here. And the second value, as you can see here, this value is the result of execution of this line of code. And the third value, as you can see here, is the result of execution of this line of code here, okay? So when you use postfix operators on a variable in an expression, so as you can see here, I used this postfix operator on this first number variable here, okay? So when you use postfix operators on a variable in an expression, so as you can see here, this is an expression, okay? This line of code is an expression because it conveys a value, okay? As I told you before, okay? When you use postfix operators on a variable in an expression, the variable's value is evaluated in the expression before it is incremented or decremented, okay? In line 58, I decided to actually add a value to my variable. As you can see, I actually referred to the name of my first number variable, and at the end of my variable name, I put an increment operator here, okay? As you can see here. This is the postfix operator. I put the postfix operator here, as you can see here, okay? This is the increment operator, okay? And then I assigned this value to the second number variable. So when you use postfix operators on a variable in an expression, the variable's value is evaluated in the expression before it is incremented or decremented, okay? So as you can see here, this value here is the result of actually executing this line of code here, okay? But this value is the same as the value of my first number when I actually assigned a value to my first number, okay? So here I actually put an increment operator here in order to add one value to this first number variable. But because I used the postfix operator on the first number variable here, okay, this variable's value is evaluated in the expression before it is incremented or decremented. So here, because I used the postfix operator on my first number variable, okay, it's not going to actually increment the value of this variable and then assign this value to my second variable. It's going to actually assign the value of this first number variable to my second number variable, and then after the assignment, it's going to actually increment the value of this first number variable by 1, okay? Because I used the postfix operator, this happened. So let me actually explain once again. Because I used the postfix operator on my first number variable here, okay, the value of this first number variable will be assigned to second number variable, and then it's gonna actually increment the value of this first number variable by 1, okay? So now, as you can see, it's gonna actually assign the value of this first number variable, which is 50, to my second number variable, and then it's gonna actually increment that value by 1, okay?